Jerry Brown, Stephen Trueblood from Haiku in Maui, Hawaii. Just watched you on the news tonight and watched what you talked about in your budget and talked about the negative things. And I thought back to the point where I voted for you in 1976 because you were progressive. You were a person who looked at the reality of politics and not at the facade. You live in a state where your number one cash crop is marijuana. And whether you like it or not, it will always be. And if you want to put your head in the sand and you want to pass by all the legitimate tax dollars that could be coming and pouring into your coffers that would liberate your state by being real with the situation that you face, you're not going to stop anybody from growing pot. You're not going to stop anybody from selling pot, even with the jackbooted efforts of the DEA and the DOJ and all the bullshit that you do. But the reality is, you have a cash crop that could save your state, and not just in marijuana, but in commercial hemp. And then the products that would produce that would be so much better than the reality. If the 1% did anything, the most horrific thing they did was in 1936 to protect their own profits. They eliminated hemp and its cousin, cannabis. And today we've quadrupled our prison system. We have a war on people. In Maui, they have helicopters that fly over and rappel people down in your backyard if they detect the DNA of a cannabis plant. We have people who need this medically who can't get it. We have people whose dispensaries. This is so fucking ridiculous, Jerry. And you got the nerve to come on TV and talk about your budget deficit. What did you become? How can you close your eyes to the reality of what's going on in your state and present something so fucking negative when you know you smoked pot? Most of your friends now smoke pot. It's the number one cash crop in your state. If you don't stand up against the federal government, and if you don't say, hey, this is a reality, 10% tax on all cannabis sales. You can buy it at any dispensary that's legal. And you can grow your own if you want it, but you have to pay for it. You have to pay some kind of license or fee, 10% tax on it, and it goes directly to the school system. 5% goes to the local school system to do repairs on buildings, to buy infrastructure, to do stuff around there, and the other 5% goes into the general fund to pay for unfunded mandates, to pay for the things that school districts can't pay, and to get back in a better situation. And each community can put aside all the law enforcement that you're spending. They spent $440,000 in Maui to get $30,000 of street value pot. And you know when they value street value pot, they have some magic formula that makes it a lot more than what it really would be. In Maui, the number one cash crop is cannabis, THC, marijuana. And they sell it to themselves, and it's still the number one cash crop, and it's the number one cash crop against every other cash crop in Maui added together. And when they burn sugarcane in Maui, it's a destructive environmental thing that people complain about all the time. They burn the plastic pipes right with the sugarcane, and people can't even go outside. Can we get sensible here, Jerry? Can we get fucking sensible? Can we look at this gift that we've used for 5,000 years until 1936 when a bunch of asshole one-percenters, the head of the asshole one-percenters, decided to eliminate cannabis and hemp? Except in World War II when we needed it, hemp for victory. We needed it to make ropes. It was valuable then. And then right away they squashed it again. And Richard Nixon was able to turn his hatred against the Vietnam protesters and was able to start the war on drugs. $3 trillion later, quadruple prison systems. Jerry, can we get real? Can we talk real? You got people in your state that you fucking respect. Tommy Chong, a guy who was put in prison for selling bongs on the internet. 9 months in federal prison. We got a guy from Maui, Roger Christie, who's in federal prison right now, never been charged, never had a bond hearing in the United States of America. We got another guy, Mark Emery from Canada, who's sitting in federal prison somewhere down in Georgia or somewhere for selling seeds. Seeds from a plant that's been part of our economy for 5,000 years, Jerry. 5,000 years of recorded history. Now they found pot in dudes that they're picking up out of pyramids. Jerry, can we get real here? Abraham Lincoln sat on his porch and smoked sweet hemp and played his harmonica. It was one of the best times of his life. George Washington grew hemp. Thomas Jefferson grew hemp. They all smoked it. They all did it. You did it. I do it. Can we get real here? Can we stop destructing our society and turn this thing around? When Jimmy Carter was elected president, and I voted for you in the primary against him in 1976, when Jimmy Carter was elected president, one of the first things he did was to pardon the draft resistors. And they were all able to come back home. This is the same as that. If you've got the balls and the sense and the real compassion and concern about people and about your state, because the next news article that came on after your bullshit was all the shit that's happening down in Mexico, which has become the bloodbath of your decisions and decisions of people like you. Just like the city streets of Chicago that turned into bloodbaths and the prohibition of alcohol, we've turned the whole country into a bloodbath. If you've got the balls to stand up and do something that's right for our nation, then be the first governor in the United States to put the DA out and the DOJ out and to stop any arrest and to backtrack through some of these people sitting in prisons right now, especially African American young black men who were put in there for simple possession because they couldn't afford a lawyer. Backtrack through those and start letting some of those people back out. And let's get sensible. We need it for medicine. We need it for clothing. We need it for paper. We need it for ethanol. We're using corn for ethanol. We're using food to make fuel instead of using this beautiful plant that God gave us to make fuel, which strengthens concrete stronger than anything else, which next to bamboo is almost invincible. Let's get sensible. I'm asking you, Jerry Brown, to come back on TV again and to be the first governor in the United States to demand a change in this policy and to stop the war on drugs and to get back to reality so that we can solve our problems. Thank you.